I wanted to wait a few days after the announcement of UFC 324's lineup because I just felt like the reaction was a bit much. The thing about MMA journalists is that they don't really hold back. They don't have a problem with telling you exactly how they feel, and they have no problem telling you when they smell bullshit. And in this situation, when the fight card gets announced for the first ever card on Paramount Plus, they have no problem telling you, yeah, this is, as Habib Nurmagomedov would say,
this is number one bullshit.
So when you look at the card itself on paper, I think you've got some really interesting matchups here. I'm going to skip over the first fight. I'll just roll right into Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. So you've got a guy that clearly the UFC wants to get back into title contention in Umar Nurmagomedov, taking on a former champion in Deiveson Figueiredo, albeit a former champion in the flyweight division. Deiveson Figueiredo, even though he's gotten a title shot before at 135, I don't think anyone views him as a true contender at 135. But you know what that fight is? It's probably a pretty decent fight. It's a decent fight in terms of the matchup. I don't think it's going to be a boring one, and that's going to be a trend. Next up, you've got the return of Thug Rose Namajunas, taking on a former champion, Alexa Grasso. You got two former champions in this one, taking on one another for a chance, I guess, to get back into title contention. I think Alexa Grasso's is closer than Rose because Rose hasn't fought in a while. But Rose is rarely in a bad fight. I say that, and then there was the Cookie Monster fight. I just remembered, so hit thumbs down for that. But most of the time, she's in exciting fights. And she's also a fighter that people, myself included, really like watching. We enjoy watching Rose pick and pop her way out of shots and get in there and use her striking. And her grappling is obviously supreme as well. But I really enjoy watching her fights, and I'm looking forward to this one because they will dub this one as a possible number one contender fight. And it very well might be. With a good win, who knows? All right, so you've got that fight. Next fight, Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva had a bit of a rough go of it in his last fight. Up until that point, though, he was murking everybody. He was knocking out everybody. And Arnold Allen has always been one of those guys where you go, man, like he is going to be a problem. He could be a real contender in the 145 division. And then, he would fight, in a number one contender fight, or he would fight in a spot where you go like, okay, with a win, he's probably the next guy, and he would fall up short. In this situation, you've got Arnold Allen, who hasn't fought in a while, taking on Gene Silva, who at this point, I think, I wouldn't say casual fans know who he is, but at least they might recognize his knockouts from the SportsCenter highlights. And at least in that situation, you go, okay, like this could be fun. Like this could be Gene Silva getting back in the win column, fighting obviously for the Fighting Nerds, a really good gym, who's had a really good year. Okay, like I can buy into that fight. Then you get Waldo Cortez Acosta against Derek Lewis. Waldo Cortez Acosta, geez, hit thumbs down for that. I don't know ball. Against Derek Lewis is, in my opinion, like a UFC dream because that right there is a guaranteed knockout. If you're going to call your friends up and they've never watched the UFC before, and one of them has Paramount Plus, and you go, okay, man, like you're going to want to watch this card, and they're like, I don't know, I don't really know any of these guys. You're like, all right, well, just turn it on for this fight because everybody knows one of these two guys is going to sleep. Derek Lewis, having the most knockouts in heavyweight division history in the UFC, taking on a guy that has fought a ton this year, is rolling right now, coming off of a fight that he recently won in very quick fashion. Not surprising, by the way, but he took that fight on short notice. He gets right back into it because he took little to no damage, and he's taking on a guy that the most casual MMA fan knows because of Derek Lewis's personality, because of his post-fight octagon interviews. I mean, Derek Lewis is a character that even my buddies who don't watch the sport know exactly who he is. And then add on to the fact that you've got two guys who are known for putting people to sleep. This is going to be a good fight. Have we been wrong about this situation before? Hell yeah, and actually in a Derek Lewis fight. Everybody remembers Derek versus Francis. But to me, like, this is a dream fight for a card where you go like, okay, it might be a snooze fest up until this point. You know, you never know. It might be, this fight particularly will be at least one that will get people off their seats. You next move on to Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. Look, Song Yadong is one of the better fighters in the 135-pound division. But he kind of reminds me of the 135 Arnold Allen, where he's been giving tests before and come up just like a pinch short. Keep in mind, though, he is really, really young. Also keep in mind he's been fighting in Team Alpha Male, and they just have like a tendency to like not produce. The name Alpha Male is ironic. Let's just say that. Nothing that really against their gym. It's just like, other than Cody Garbrandt and his one miracle fight against Dominic Cruz, they haven't really produced much. And I think Song is probably their best chance right now. With all of that said, this is pretty clearly, to me at least, an opportunity to showcase Sean O'Malley, to get him back into the win column, to get him back into contention. Albeit, I don't really know what for, because even Sean's like, I don't know who beats Merab, because at this point, you don't look at the 135 division and go, oh, that guy's a real strong test for Merab, because Merab is just going to run through all these guys. But still, Sean O'Malley, again, a guy that even the most casual MMA fans, even a guy that isn't an MMA fan at all, they'll know who Sean O'Malley is. They will want to at least see the Sugar Show. And in this situation, you finally have Sean O'Malley not facing a grappler in Merab who's just going to manhandle him for 25 minutes. You have another striker in Song Yadong, and that I think is a dream scenario for the UFC, who wants to once again showcase a cash cow in Sean O'Malley. They do have a superstar problem. He is one of the few that they have. Next up, you have, the GOAT of women's MMA, Amanda Nunes, returning to take on Kayla Harrison. I know Ariel Helwani went on a tangent about how this isn't the main event of the card. I completely understand the sanctity of, the sport and his gripe with it. The fact is, the UFC is sexist. Like, Valentina is always going to be the co-main event, and this is no different. Amanda Nunes taking on Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison, a decorated Olympian, and they have a lot of respect for each other. I think they trained with each other at one point at ATT or down in Florida. They're familiar with each other. They kind of always knew that this was going to happen one day. Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement for it. Like, this is a huge fight. This isn't Ronda coming out of retirement, because Ronda coming out of retirement, when you really thought about it and you saw the result, you went, oh, okay, that kind of made sense. No, like Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement, this is a really, really, really strong matchup. I mean, this is a striker versus a wrestler. Who wins? I mean, let's see if the layoff takes a toll on Amanda. Let's see if she's rusty. Kayla Harrison shouldn't be rusty, but then the weight cut that Kayla Harrison takes to get to that weight might take an effect. It's not like, Amanda Nunes is small. My point is, this is a really, really, really good fight. And the only other fight I'd want to see in women's MMA right now is Amanda versus Valentina, which for whatever reason we're never going to see. But this is a really good fight. And then the last fight of the card, Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, interim lightweight title fight. Do either of these guys deserve an interim lightweight title fight? No, not at all. You've got much better competition out there, and we just saw Arman Tsarukyan do what he did to Dan Hooker in quick fashion, and he is clearly the number one guy in that division. So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously an issue there, but let's take a look at why this happened more importantly and the outrage that's taking place because of it. Arman Tsarukyan pulled out of a title fight day of. Arman Tsarukyan fights one time a year. Arman Tsarukyan tweeted out, like, make it make sense. It's not hard to make it make sense, bud. This is the first card of the Paramount Plus deal. The UFC clearly wants to make this a marquee card of watchable fights. Like, that is it. It is a watchable fight. This is a fight of two guys, in Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett, that casual fans know. That is the most important thing. When you look up and down this card, you go, casual fan knows who that is, casual fan knows who that is, casual fan knows who this is, this card, oh, yep, they know who that. That's what this fight card is. It is a fight card to draw in all the casuals with the new Paramount Plus deal to hopefully get them to continue to purchase Paramount Plus and to have this partnership start off on the right foot. And the fact is, Arman Tsarukyan going out there and, wrestle fucking Paddy Pimblett or wrestle fucking Justin Gaethje, even though that would be more difficult because Justin Gaethje is a wrestler. But having him do that as the main fight is not great for business. Is it right? No, but the UFC has never been, okay, the best fighter gets the card. But no, like, this is a prize fighting company. You know, you're fighting for money. You're fighting to make money. They're fighting to put on money. The UFC puts these cards on to make money. And this card, like it or not, screams entertainment. And I understand why the MMA media is outraged, because to them, there is a sanctity of the sport. There is I dedicated my life to this. I want what's right to take place. I want the rightful number one contender to get their due. Arman Tsarukyan, after doing what he did, that's the rightful contender. Paddy Pimblett, you look at his record. Okay, it's impressive, but you look at who he's beaten. They're all over like 37 years old. Justin Gaethje's 37 years old. But the fact remains, those two guys are rarely in bad fights. Is Justin Gaethje ever in a bad fight? And that's the most important thing to the UFC. So while everyone, the diehards, are shitting on this card, you got to think about it from the other angle of it, and you got to think about the fact that we just got off of a pay-per-view card that cost $80, where I watched Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound number one, bore the shit out of me for 25 minutes. And Valentina Shevchenko kind of did the same thing against Wei Li. It was pure domination, but was it entertaining? Fuck and no. And that's the thing that the UFC is trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid the marquee fight on their new deal where fans walk out going, that was it? I mean, because I think after the first fight on the pay-per-view, on the Fox card, they kind of had that happen, where it's like, okay, it was a knockout, it ended quickly, but that was it? Like, did we learn anything? They're trying to avoid an Aspinall Gone situation where the card wasn't great and then it ends like that. This card is fireworks up and down. This card is just great fights in terms of just the product and not, the hierarchy of does this person deserve it and that. They also announced the Diego Lopez versus Volkanovski fight for UFC 325. And it's a very similar thing when I look at it. Like, does Diego Lopez deserve another title shot? No, he just got beaten by Alexander Volkanovski. No, he doesn't deserve it. But are those two guys ever in boring fights? No. The first fight wasn't boring. And I think that's what you're probably going to see. And that's the uphill battle that guys like Arman are going to face. Arman Tsarukyan, for as talented as he is, does not sell fights. My buddies aren't calling me up going, yo, we got to watch the new Arman fight. No. They don't know who the fuck Arman is. But casual fight fans know who Volkanovski is. And casual fight fans might know who Diego Lopez is, but both those guys are usually in really, really good fights. Am I going to watch all of this? Absolutely. And you know what? Every MMA media member who is complaining about it will do the same thing. And they might hide behind that, well, it's my job. But they would be watching if it wasn't their job. And that is a fact. So I think you just need to look at it like that. Look, this Paramount Plus deal, I think, is a lot of positives. And I think this card is actually one of them, believe it or not. Because I'm looking forward to this because I was bored as shit with the last card. And it wasn't like the first three fights are great, by the way. It was the last two fights that put a sour taste in your mouth, especially when you consider you're paying $80 for it. The Paramount Plus deal, you sign up for Paramount Plus, you never have to pay $80 again. And more importantly, for us on the East Coast, 9 p.m. start times, chef's kiss. Like, thank you, God, I'm not walking out of a Buffalo Wild Wings at 12:45 as Joe Rogan says, it's an honor to call your fight. Like, thank the Lord. And I know I sound like a boomer when I say that, but it's shit, I'm tired. So I think when you take a step back and you look at this card, top to bottom, it makes a lot of sense. They're going to be exciting fights. Do I like the fact that Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett are fighting for an interim title fight? No, I don't, because the UFC has gotten interim happy. It's like, oh my God, we got to stack it. We got to put 2 title fights. Well, we don't really have another title fight. Interim. Let's do an interim. Okay, I think we both know that if Islam wanted to come back down to 155, if Ilya wanted to fight at 155 again, they would murk either of these two guys, more than likely. But the fact remains, I'm never not going to want to see a Justin Gaethje fight, just like I'm never not going to want to see a Max Holloway fight. As far as the Diego Lopez fight, I just want to make real quickly and say, credit to Volkanovski, because that dude is game bred. I mean, when you think about his career, How many times did he fight Max? And he had the famous quote of like, are we just going to keep giving Max title fights until he wins? But that guy never turned down a Max Holloway fight. And that is tough. And then the Diego Lopez fight, the late fight against Islam Makhachev. He gets back in there with Makhachev. Like, the dude is just prepared to fight at all times. Mad respect to Volk. It's not like I'd be scared about Diego Lopez, especially after what happened in the first fight. But again, like, it'd be very easy, I think, for Volkanovski to be like, I'm not fighting that dude again. Like, I just beat him. And he's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. You know, his coach comes out and says, I don't really think he's deserving of it, but all right, yeah, we'll fight. Like, love that attitude. So now's the part where I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe. Subscribing is cool. A lot of people are doing it. Please, God, subscribe. Thumbs down if you like it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. Let me know what fight you're looking forward to most on this card, and if you're going to end up watching it, because I don't know a ton of people that have Paramount Plus, but I myself will be signing up for Paramount Plus because of the UFC deal. All right, I'm going to go now. This was fun. I'll talk to you later.